All right, who that nation? It's your boy Marley G back at y'all again with another episode of No Cap No Filter. I got a special guest today joining the show, man. We got New Orleans Saints very own, one of the most hardest working journalists in the city right now, Nick Underhill, man. Appreciate you for coming on to the show, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. You have a new studio right now, man. You got like a beer out right now. You brought in a new member to the team, man. He bringing a lot of young flavor to the team. I'm liking what he's bringing to the show. You got a new intro. I love the intro. Your takes always be good. I be kind of like agreeing with a lot that you be saying. Mike Triplett, I like what he brings to the team when he asks questions in the press conferences. So, man, y'all doing y'all thing over there, man. I just want to give you flowers while you're here, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and yeah. Brandon's been great, man. Good addition to the team. Definitely brings a different perspective. But yeah, man, ready for the season to get rolling and see what this team's going to become.
Yeah, that's what everybody's waiting on, bro. It's very interesting. So many different camp battles, and we all know what the special camp battle that everybody's looking at. It's so polarizing right now. But before we get into the preseason game, man, let's go ahead on and get into, the news that you broke. You broke the news on Justin Simmons visiting New Orleans. You broke the news late at night, like around 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, and it just put everybody in just an uproar. Everybody was just so excited. Everybody was just so happy. He brings a level of, turnover capability to the defense, and that's what I think we're very missing to this defense. But you broke the news, and then you had Adam Schefter, national media personality. He even tagged you in it, gave you your credit that you broke it first. How does it feel when you break some news like that, and then guys like that just tag you, and you get credit for what you do and work so hard for?
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be recognized, of course. But I mean, look, my thing is I just want to, I want the people that care about the team. Like, those are the people I want the credit from. Like, I'm just trying to work for y'all, man. And I take it as like a personal responsibility to try to do my best to make sure people are informed, about what's going on. Trying to make sure that we know what's going on, that we can explain the why behind their different things. Like, I don't necessarily agree with everything they do, but I want to know why they're doing it. And I try to figure it out. So for me, like, yeah, it's cool to see like Schefter, tip the cap or whatever, like, point out that we had it first, but like, really, like, a lot of times that doesn't happen and they'll come behind it. Like, I don't care, man. As long as the Saints fans are paying attention to what we're doing and they feel like we're doing a good job and they're saying we're working hard, like, that's the thing that really matters to me.
Well, the defense is already good. A lot of people will say it's even elite. If you add a guy like Simmons, he just turn it up a notch. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people feel like this is a playoff team because the division. And when you just add a guy like Justin Simmons, it just, put you over that hump. Do you think this move is like just more so towards opportunity, or do you think it's more so like, okay, well, we this good on defense, but we do need help at safety? He's a guy that can provide turnovers that can help the offense get more chances because, a lot of people are going into the season and thinking that the offense still might have its, ups and downs before they could really just get the ball rolling with the offensive line and, probably like a lack of one more skill position and things. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if they do sign him, I think he's visiting the Falcons right now. So, like, I think that the issue between them not signing him or signing him, I think it's an issue of years. Like, I think Simmons is looking for 3 years, and I think the Saints are only offering him probably one right now. Is kind of how I heard it. So he's in Atlanta right now. I mean, I wonder if that does put pressure on Mickey and them to get this done and come back and offer a little more. I mean, that's a division rival, and he could be somebody that kind of tips the division a little bit. Like, the Falcons' defense is shaky. Like, you look at it, and I don't think they got a lot of good players over there. They got the corner David Onyemata up front, but like overall, they got one safety, but another one I think kind of takes them to another level if they were to get Simmons. And then obviously, I think if you put him on the Saints defense, him and Tyron make them a really dynamic duo, and you can move them all over the place and both guys can play in the box, both can play deep, both can cover the slot. Like, so you've really become incredibly interchangeable and you can disguise your defense a lot of different ways. So I think there's there's definitely a spot for him on the team. I don't know if the other safety spot's like a need, but I think it would be like, you said the word opportunity. I think it would really be about kind of taking advantage of an opportunity there and getting a good player probably at a discount, but it is a matter of years. And I kind of see it a little bit. Like, if signing Simmons to a 3-year deal in 3 years, like, are the Saints going to be competitive? Like, I don't know. I think in a 1-year window, like, they're still kind of in a place where it makes sense to try to go for that division title. But I don't know what this team's going to be in 3 years. So, like, I get, like, trying to make temporary moves, but um, seeing him go to Atlanta, I think would be tough. I would hate to see the reaction to that after it was like he was here. It felt like it was going to happen, and then he leaves. So, um, it'll be interesting to see if one of these two teams gets him.
Yeah, man. I already put on Twitter. I said one of the craziest things that could happen is if New Orleans and Atlanta get into this bidding war over Simmons, and then out the blue, Cleveland just pull a wool over everybody's heads and just sign some. But
Yeah.
that'll just be crazy with the fans. But a lot of people feel like the defense is kind of straight. Like, what do you say to the people who feel like, well, don't give the money to Simmons, just wait till you could just find you a good offensive line to just help out with this O-line for the trench work and on offense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the answer to that would be, like, is there an lineman out there that's going to make a difference? Like, a lot of difference makers usually aren't available this time of year. I mean, I know Simmons obviously is, and I think that's kind of rare. Like, Bakhtiari's out there, but, like, is he healthy? If he was, would he have already been signed somewhere? Does he want to play? I'm worried about that O-line though, big time. Like, I don't know what they're going to do there if this doesn't work out, and the first signs of it don't look great. I thought that preseason game was probably about as underwhelming as could be, and it wasn't just Penning. Like, I was a little bit worried about Lucas Patrick too. I think it was a great game for him. Obviously they know what they got with Caesar and McCoy, and I thought Fuaga actually played well, but man, Penning. I don't know what happens there, honestly. Like, if it stays like this and it doesn't improve like rapidly, like, I don't know how you play them. Like, I don't know how you keep putting them out there. It just doesn't feel like you're going to operate if it's going the way it is. And, like, obviously there's some stuff with the offense and how it worked and how they played that, it's vanilla, but that doesn't, you still got to block. Like, you still got to be able to block. It doesn't matter if you aren't using like your motions and stuff. Like, yeah, I think that can take some pressure off the O line, but, like, at some point it is going to be 3rd and 9 and you got to block, and, like, can he do it? And it was rough. This game was rough. Like, I'm not closing the book, but I'm worried about if he can change the story. Like, he didn't last year. First glimpse this year wasn't good. Camp's been up and down. So yeah, I mean, I'm significantly worried about that spot.
Do you think the Saints just reach on these players because of the RAS score and and just not want to pay other players that they should have paid that money that they were probably asking for?
Yeah, I mean, this one, like, everybody was wrong on this guy though. Like, it wasn't like it was like a crazy reach him going in the first round. Like, I think everybody was wrong on him, but I mean, it's tough when a lot of your draft picks in the first round recently, like, kind of have not been where you wanted them to be. Like Marcus Davenport, Peyton Turner. The health has obviously been an issue. Foskey, second round, that's looking iffy. I mean, second year, too soon to make a judgment, but I haven't seen anything yet. Penning's looking like a miss right now. It's a rough situation to be in. They definitely like the size, speed, profile. I think everybody kind of does, but there is like a willingness, I think, for them to go, like, smaller school guys and see if they can hit gold and kind of get a little bit more there. Whereas I think you look at like the Texans and Nick Caserio, like, all their draft picks have kind of been big school guys, and there's different approaches to it, but it's rough. Like, these athletic guys from these smaller schools, like, they haven't hit. And again, that's Turner, Davenport, and look, Davenport was great when he was on. Like, I know everybody kind of like acts like it was terrible all the time. When he was like consistent, like, he was really good, but like, he couldn't achieve consistency. It's not a good look, man. And I think those kind of picks are kind of, they set you back at a certain point if they continue to accumulate. So, like, that's something that's got to, like, turn very quickly. And this one's one that is kind of setting them back a little bit, because, like, even if they knew about Ramchek's knee, and they did, like, they've known about it for a while, they've known that it was going to keep getting worse. Like, drafting him, that should have been the safety net. And then when Ramchek goes, you draft the other guy, and you kind of have your two, and you start, like, if Penning was a hit, they'd be in a fine situation with Fuaga, but, like, they aren't. And now you're going into the season, and I don't know, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't love their other options on the roster if it isn't Penning. I thought Uli Udo was okay. He had the 2 penalties. Outside of that, though, like he blocked pretty good. I think 15 blocking snaps, no pressures. Like again, he was in there with the second and third team guys, but like maybe he's serviceable, but it's I think that's the issue that defines the season. Like, can they figure that out or not? And if they can't, like I don't know how it works.
Yeah, man. When it comes to the draft, and I think we did some okay picks, but it comes to that first round. Like that first round been setting us back ever since, Davenport, and probably even before that. But I think with the Davenport draft, people were just mainly, up in arms because it was the same draft with Lamar, and we traded the next year's first round pick for him. So, and then when I listened to your show a lot, when you told everybody on the show that they was even thinking about signing Bond on the first round, I almost flipped out my chair. I was like, I can't believe this, but they stick to their guns when they have their certain score. But when it comes to this preseason game, we looked at Derek Carr, and a lot of people was displeased with his performance, even though it was just a few snaps. But a lot of people feel like he just comes with a lot of excuses that just prepared and ready to go. A lot of people feel like that when it comes to Dennis Allen as well, and just head coach quarterback duo combo. A lot of people are just not having a lot of faith in it. But I think that Dennis Allen, he's kind of like tethered to Derek Carr. So if they're gonna go down, they're gonna go down with the ship together. I'm going to ask you, like, if the season is not going in their favor, like after the first 5 games, let's just say after the first 6 games, they're maybe 2-6. Can you see a possibility where Dennis Allen is, pulling Derek Carr, not even for injury, but like just for performance for a Spence Rattler or maybe a G?
So like just total disarray, hopelessness. They aren't going anywhere. Like maybe total disaster. Maybe you look toward the future. It's possible. Um, I don't know that either one of those guys is like pushing them yet. I think Spencer's look great. I think, man, his upside is crazy. Like the arm's crazy. I think the thing that he did in college that was like maybe a little bit iffy is that it was kind of like see the guy come open, throw the ball. Like you see more anticipation now. Like the way he improves, like the way he's improved since minicamp to now is insane. The way he's improved since day one of camp to what was it yesterday, day 14. Like it's leaps and bounds. He does a lot of stuff. I think a year from now, like I think like a year of development, like if he keeps doing the stuff he's doing, like I think he has a shot. I think he has a shot. And then like Jake, obviously, like he's good in every practice. Like he plays hard as hell. He's a fighter. Like the way he approaches the game is like it's kind of cool to watch him in practice. Just like how hard he tries. But like I think the ceiling's way lower on him than it is on Spencer. But I could see like Jake having the type of career where he's like a Brian Hoyer, like I don't know, QB 39 in the league.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. I
Yeah,
heard
like
Wolf on Twitter. He gave him Gardner Minshew. I think he's like a Ryan Fitzpatrick, and maybe Spencer. To me, he's like a young Russell Wilson. Maybe if he hit that ceiling. So I see why people are so excited for the future if things don't pan out with this current regime.
yeah, but like if the season's a wash, like yeah, maybe somebody gets a chance. Like at that point, like all bets are off. Like, but I do think their intent to go into the season. Like I know a lot of people want to see like Card not play, and it's going to be Rattler. Like just my honest 100% opinion. Like I don't see Derek Carr getting pushed in practice like that right now. Like it's not there. And I just don't think that they're going to go that direction. Like I just don't think that's something that people should expect. I don't think it's there. They're gonna start Derek. They're gonna see where it goes. And look, honestly, like before closing the book on anybody, and I don't even think it's close to closing the book, but like if people want to close the book, like I don't know, let's see what he does in this offense first before like deciding. But the very first look of it was about as bad as it could be. So, I understand why people feel the way they feel, and like they should be excited about Spencer. Like, yeah, fifth rounder, but like he's not a normal fifth round pick. Like he's not. He was the number one recruit at one point. I think his arm is top tier. Like people should be excited about him. I'm excited about him watching him at practice. Like I want to see what he can do. I want to see how he develops. I stand out there and watch him and I think, man, like I wonder what he could do. Like, a year from now, like what's he going to be? How's he going to develop? What would he look like if he had the starting offensive weapons around him? Like, I picture that stuff too. So I'm excited about him. I want to see what he does, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if he can take a year to develop. I think it's important for him to win the backup job because like the backup gets all the other reps in practice. Third guy usually watches, doesn't throw the ball a whole lot. So like I think it's important for him to win that. Hopefully he keeps playing well in these preseason games, and if he does, I think he probably should win it. But yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world for him to, go behind the scenes, develop, not have all that stuff around him, not have to play behind a right tackle that's not blocking very well. Like if he can develop and come back next year, like I'm excited to see what that can be.
Yeah, man. A lot of people feel like this team has a really good shot just because the division is weak. If they could get in to the playoffs by winning this division, just beat Atlanta, beat the Bucks. I don't really think that Carolina is going to be fighting for any type of position. But if you could just beat Atlanta and beat the Bucks, I feel like people feel like this team has a chance. But I still feel like yes, they can have a chance with that. And Clint Kubiak there, putting that cape on him like he could just save everything. But I really feel like when it comes to the roster, it's a good roster, but the meat and potatoes is still has stuff to prove to me. The O-line has things to prove. Kicker and punter has things to prove. Skill positions. The jury's still out on running back. We don't know what's going on with Kendrick. You have a lot of people feel like we need a good tight end. Hopefully Hoka could just be that. And, a lot of people feel like we're missing a wide receiver. You have the defense. The defense is good, but the jury is still out. Can we stop mobile quarterbacks? Gay, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Gay. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Chase Young. He's ahead of schedule when it comes to him being healthy. Maybe he could provide to that help with the consistent pass rush. And we still need to stop the run. I feel like we haven't stopped the run consistently since we let go of Malcolm Roach. So if we could stop the run, stop mobile quarterbacks, beat good teams. A lot of people bring up that last 4 out of 5 games, but we've seen what happened with the Rams. If we could beat these good teams, then they could just, change my perspective on them. So what do you feel like about when it comes to the roster and the meat and potato of these units that's really going to need to work if you want to go far?
Yeah, I think I agree with kind of pretty much everything you said there. I feel that way about the defense. I feel good about the defense in general. I think they got a lot of talent on that side of the ball, and DA is a really good defensive play caller. The O-line is a huge concern. The other wide receivers, it's a concern for me, and I think they got a lot to prove there. I mean, tight end, man. If like Juwan was out there playing and we could see it, like maybe I'd feel okay about that spot, but he's not. And he had a quiet first, what was it, 70% of the season last year, and then he kind of clicked in end of the year. Him and Carr got on the same page, all that stuff. So I mean, I think he has to be really good. I like Taysom in this offense. They need Kendra. Like Kendra's got to get on the field. Like he's way more talented than everybody else that's not Alvin, and they need him in that running back 2 spot really bad.
Is he really injured, or is he in the doghouse with DA?
He's injured. He was what was it yesterday? Yesterday was what day of the week is it? Monday, Sunday. So Sunday he was out there. They practiced late in the day, and he was out there rehabbing for the first time. So it looks like he's closer, but like also in the doghouse a little bit. Yeah, I think so. I mean, DA made it kind of clear he was frustrated with just kind of how his career's gone to this point with those injuries and all that stuff. And obviously injuries happen, but they need to see him. But yeah, I have all the same concerns, man. I think I feel the same way about the roster, and the depth just overall, especially on offense. I'm worried about it. The mobile quarterbacks thing, I think Gay's going to help with that a lot. And like we saw his range in that game. That's what we've been seeing in practice. That was kind of like his specialty in Kansas City, was kind of being like the spy. And if he can do that, and I think they just have good speed at linebacker overall. So if you got more of those guys, I think that helps with it. And yeah, I mean, that's something that they definitely got to figure out, though. That's the one thing DA it's consistently been a thorn in the side.
What base defense will we be running? I know we used to run the nickel. Is it true that we're switching to like a 4-3?
No, I mean, well, like when they're in situations, but yeah, I mean, I think we'll see more nickel than anything. I mean, that's just kind of how the league's gone. I mean, they like to use that 3-man front on third downs, three-man front. I mean, so I think in some spots where you're using 3-man front, maybe you get 3 linebackers on the field. But I mean, if they got 3 receivers out there, you got to have 5 defensive backs. So there's maybe different ways to do it. But like, yeah, I mean, there were some times where they go with the 3-man front on the line and then go 2 linebackers and then be dime in the back end. Like maybe they'll take a safety off in some spots and put a linebacker, but like typically the offense is going to dictate that. But yeah, I don't think that's going to change too drastically.
Right. Yeah, man. I'm gonna get ready to let you go soon, but I got like 2 more questions for you. But
yeah, you're all good.
I'm good. All right. Before I get into that, I just want to tell you my gripe with Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. Like I feel like these guys, around the league, they're looked at as kind of like a below average head coach, and a mediocre quarterback. And I just feel like in this day and age, you're not going to really get far. Maybe back then you could get far, back when it was just a lot of stuff the defense could get away with, and it wasn't all this type of different innovation on offense. But nowadays, I really feel like you need a good head coach and quarterback dynamic. But I gave them a fair shot. I gave them a fair shot. The first year, I said, okay, we had some injuries. Dennis Allen ain't have his guy. He still ain't got his staff. Second year, I said, okay, he got his staff. Well, he didn't have his staff all the way because they still had Pete Carmichael. A lot of people say that Pete ain't even want the job. So I was like, okay, well, they got a guy who don't even want the job. And, they got Derek Carr, but he was kind of, injured. But I was like, let me go ahead and give these guys a shot. But when that Vikings game came, I said, man, I really feel like I have no faith in these guys, dog. If we lose to the Josh Dobbs and we lose without a Jettas on the field, then, man, how can I have any faith of us winning anything of significance, especially with all the evidence out? You had that lady Amy, she was talking about Dennis Allen. You just had everything that was going on all around the league and different players speaking out about him and all that. And I really feel like that's probably going to happen in the next 5 years. A lot of these guys that's on the team right now, once they off the team and they probably like retired or just on a different team, they're probably going to come out and say what their experience was like with Dennis Allen. But that's what I just feel like. I listened to Matt Moscona like 2 years ago, and I was like, man, Matt, he hating, man. He don't know what he talking about. But I got to admit, he was right. Everything that he said, it came to fruition, and he was right. And I was just that fan that was just going off of straight optimism and saying, well, if this and this and this can happen, then we could be fine. But, sometimes you just got to live in reality. And to me, in reality, I feel like we just in mediocre purgatory right now. The only good thing that we have going for us is the fact that we are in a weak division. And to me, that's holding us up from just doing a complete rebuild. But our players are good. The ones that are kind of getting older, they're still all good. DeMario, he's still good. And Tyron is still good. So it's like I can see why they say, okay, well, let's give it a shot. We got his quarterback. We got a new offensive coordinator that's, with this new modern style of offense. So I could see the vision on what they think, but at the same time, I still feel like you got to be a good head coach and just not a good defense. I don't subscribe to, Dennis Allen can just worry about the defense and Clint worry about the offense. I don't really subscribe to that because it's more than just worry about the defense to me as a head coach. Like you gotta be the man who's going to make the final decision on big decisions. You're going to be the man who's going to sort your roster and your staff. Just in big critical moments of the game. So that's how I would feel, how I feel about that. And the reason why you came to the show is you told me that you will come on the show in when I hit you up, and I kind of made a comment. So I'm gonna go ahead on and let you get the floor so you could kind of just put this nip this in the bud. I was like, man, Nick, he's very good at his job. He does his thing, but y'all just got to read between the lines. He's gonna protect the team image by not saying too much critical things about a Dennis Allen or a Derek Carr. A lot of people feel like you do that because you work with the team, or maybe the team is paying you off, or things of that nature. So what would you like to say to me and other people like?
Oh man,
things Twitter.
I think it's great. I think it's crazy. Like 90% of the stats I see people using to like shit on people are things that I put out there. So, it's like, all the stats about like the lack of play action and motion and stuff last year, those are my numbers. And then people are coming at me like, you're not being critical. And meanwhile, like I got players telling me I'm bullying Pete Carmichael. Like it's crazy, man. Like I don't even worry about that kind of stuff though. Like I just do my job and I try to be fair. To the stuff you were saying though, like about DA and them, like, I guess my thing on that is like just judge them off of this year, right? Like they got to prove it, they got to be better, and if they aren't, like the chips kind of fall where they may. I think it's tough to succeed as a coach if you don't have the roster or the staff. I think they got most of the roster. I don't think they had the staff. Like when Sean didn't have good staff and the roster was weak, like he won 7 games too. Like and then DA becomes the DC and they have a good draft and they have a better team and then they start winning games again. And when they didn't have, the right DCs before, Rob Ryan and all them, like they were winning 7 games then too. So he's got the staff he wants now. He's got, that I don't know if it's the quarterback you would pick out of all of them, but it's the quarterback he wanted. He got that. He's got his defense. Like you gotta make it happen now. You're in the division, and if you don't, like stuff's gonna fall where it falls. So I think it's just kind of on them to prove it. It doesn't really matter like what anyone thinks right now. Like they got to prove it. But like man, like I don't know. I feel like I criticize the team a lot. I think I do when it's warranted. Um, you know, we're the site that went and got the Jameis interview complaining about how he was being treated unfairly. Like I think people just really aren't paying attention if they say that. Like I think I'm not going to go through like a resume of like negative things, but like I know there's a lot of negative stuff that's been said, but like I try to be fair. Like I think the difference though is that like there is a responsibility for the things that we say, and not to the team, to the fans. Like if I'm sitting here just going off the rails all the time about everything and not being like logical and rational about it, like how many times are people going to come back to hear what we got to say? Because like you can't be in a position and like constantly say stuff and then be like, well, I'm glad I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like you gotta kind of try to be on point. Like all I'm trying to do is tell you like really what I feel and take emotion out of it. And I really, last year I thought it was terrible. I thought the locker room was about to fall apart, and then they win these games at the end of the year, and it's like, well, they saved the jobs. Like I really do think that's a logical conclusion. But I think you go into the year and it's like, well, you got to build on that now. Like you got to keep doing that, and it's just kind of, I think how we see things and how everybody else sees things. Like I don't think it's always dissimilar, but I think the way you go about saying it, you can't have finality or emotion in it. It's kind of got to be like, well, the offense stinks and this is why. And like, you kind of got to explain it. But there always is like that possibility of like things turning around. Like until I think it's like finished, like I'm going to say like, yeah, this is bad. But like maybe to like, we're talking about Penning before. It's like, yeah, it's bad. I don't think it's going to, I'm very concerned. I'm worried about where it goes, but I do see 2 games and like maybe somehow he changes it. But like at the same time, I think you really got to be worried about it. Like I'm going to say that instead of being like, it's over. Like, I think you just kind of got to be like fair about it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And like, look, I might miss that mark. In bad times, it probably seems like protection or whatever. And in good times, it probably seems like, well, why is he not so, excited about this? But like, at the end of it, like, I just want people to know that they can come and like, we're going to try to keep it real. We're going to try to tell you why. It doesn't mean if we're telling you why, it doesn't mean we agree with it. That's the one thing that drives me nuts. It's like, we'll say something and try to like, be like, this is why I think they're doing it. And you give an explanation. And it's like, that's what I think they're thinking. It's not what I think. And then people are like, no, like you're making excuses. Like, no, I'm just telling you like why I think they did that. It doesn't mean I agree with it. That's the one thing, I get frustrated with that, but like, I think we try to keep it real. If it doesn't come across that way, maybe the way we're putting out the information isn't always, perfect. But, I do think, I feel pretty good about, being fair and being honest. When things are bad, like we say they're bad. When they're terrible, we say they're terrible. Like when they aren't, like we say they aren't. Like people got mad at me the other day because I said, I thought Carr was ahead of it, and like there was a tweet saying that like Spencer Rattler was like about to beat him out of camp or whatever. And it's like, yo, like this is going kind of crazy. That's kind of like what led to us talking. And it was just like, no, like I think Carr's ahead of him. Like this is crazy. Like I wasn't trying to like, but sometimes what's real and the stuff people are talking about is a little bit different. But like, you got to go out there and tell the truth, man. And I'm telling you my truth every time. So hopefully it comes across the right way.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, like last year, I used to be like, yeah, man, I kind of think Nick is kind of protecting the team. And me and you was going back and forth. You probably don't remember that because you talk to a lot of people. You really engage with a lot of fans all the time. But we kind of went back and forth like last year. But then I was like, well, maybe I could be wrong because then I started seeing Dennis Allen started saying, oh, yeah, I ain't going to get no question about the quarterback now, huh? And it was kind of like a shot to the media to me. I was like, damn, man. So the organization is just kind of like, they're just splitting themselves with the media and the fans, and they kind of alienate themselves, So I was like, yeah, man, this can't be true for what I'm thinking if Dennis Allen just coming up there and just giving a shot to them. But that's why I do kind of like Mike Triplett. He's going to ask those tough questions in the press conference, and even Kat Terrell. So I give her credit too. She asked those tough questions as well. But Nick,
Yeah,
man,
I mean, like I'm not about to like air dirty laundry or nothing. No, but it is funny to me. Like I know who gets pissed off and who's yelling and saying stuff, and then it's like you get online and there's like a. It's just like it is what it is, man. Like when the team's not making people happy, everyone's going to be frustrated, and like I'm happy that it's coming at me because like I would rather have people be frustrated with whatever because that means they're paying attention. You know what I mean? So like people can say whatever as long as they're paying attention to what we're doing and they care about what we're saying. Like that's a blessing, man. You're not gonna please everyone in that school. It's sports. Like as long as it doesn't ever get like personal, like I don't really. It is what it is, man. As long as people are cool, like it's cool with me. So, um, yeah, that's kind of it. But it's that perception, man. It's just it is what it is. It's funny though.
Well, shoot, Nick, I'm gonna go ahead on and let you get up out of here. But before you go, you could tell everybody where they could find you at. Tell everybody what you got going on with the with your deal with the beer, and just let them know what all your platforms at, man.
Yeah, we're on New Orleans South Football everywhere, Twitter, YouTube, our website, all that stuff. Hopefully, we got all the coverage you want, you need, and yeah, we're on YouTube 3 days a week. So check us out.
All right, man, and thanks for coming on to the show, man. This means a lot to me, Nick, bro. And shoot, in the words of Saints legend Dennis Allen, man, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, Nick, man, come back anytime.
Yes, sir.